live.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Co-op Podcast. I'm your host, Richard Bailey Jr., and today I'm joined by Mr. Gary A. Swaby. How's it going, Gary?
It's going very well. Thank you very much, Rich. Good to be back. I think we had a bit of a hiatus, and I hope you enjoyed, your week last week. I know it was very eventful, and yeah, good to be back now, though. Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely. And we're also joined by Miss Dana Abercrombie. How's it going, Dana?
Hello, it's going very well. Happy to be here.
Good to hear. So yeah, as Gary just said, I would like to formally apologize that we did not have a show last week. I actually was in New York for WrestleMania 35, a week-long adventure of long shows and some questionable decisions with some of the booking, but overall it was a fun time.
Yeah.
And I did get a chance to finally meet Dana, and we did play Smash Brothers. Oh no, not me. Yeah, we played along with my very good friend Ricky and our other two friends that we made as well, Jackie and Amani. So a very fun trip overall. We are going to at some point do another WrestleCast because I am aware that there is a superstar shakeup that is taking place tomorrow night. So stay tuned for that because that's probably going to be sometime next week, if not the weekend. So stay tuned for that. But overall, a fun trip. So I do apologize. I wasn't back. I wasn't around to record the show, but we'll make up for that today because there's quite a bit of things that happened that we can definitely talk about. So with all that said, before we get into all of that, we want to let you all know what we have been playing. So Dana, would you like to go first and let us know what you've been playing?
My games, as always, are like they're the calm, relaxing, cute kind, just because I've been stressed. So my game that I've been playing is Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn, which I love these type of games. We had also Yoshi's Woolly World, so it's kind of related to that. So for me, it's just very calm. It's very relaxing. It's very cute, and it's a good way to not kill people. So I've been enjoying myself with Kirby.
Wait, so are you saying if
awesome.
It wasn't for Kirby, you'd be killing people?
I would be saying that my life could be way different than what it is today.
Well, there you go, people. Video games save people.
They save lives. They really do. That yarn.
Absolutely. That sounds good. I definitely will have to make a point to check out some of these other games. I will say that after playing Smash Brothers last weekend, I definitely want to get a Switch now, for sure, because just being able to play the 5-player Smash Brothers, that was a lot of fun. Even though my very good friend Ricky cheated in pretty much every matchup that we had, it still was a lot of fun. So.
Blame this man who cannot defend himself right now. That was you. You came in and like completely destroyed people. And then the thing that I love is that you're so laid back about it, where you're like, "Oh, who, me? Who won? Oh, I won! Yay!" And so,
well, we'll see about that because you definitely did that more than a couple of times. So.
No, here's the thing. The only reason why I was shocked that I won like 2 games was because I would die within like the first 10 seconds. And the fun part was like nobody hit me. I would just fall off the stage, not knowing where I'm at.
That certainly is a skill that many people must master who decide to play that game because it's very easy to fall off of some of them stages.
Like a breeze go by and I'm off the stage and I don't even know what happens. It literally is just start and I'm dead. So my joy came from, wow, I'm surprised that I'm still existing and I didn't fall off yet. but then, you would come in and would just wipe out everybody and would be like, ha. And it was so sad because you didn't even give people a chance.
No, that's we definitely talk about Ricky here with his Donkey Kong, kept picking Donkey Kong and beating the hell out of everybody with that character.
You would come in with like a random Wii Fit and come and destroy everyone. It was like, I didn't even know she had moves.
Oh no,
that Wii Fit instructor, that's my main right there. Like when I play that character, I'm a
she's literally like, you pay no attention to her. You think she's like a random Karen on the street, and she comes in and she will whoop your ass. She's amazing. Yeah. She really is. But with Richard, it's like, oh, I don't know anything. And then comes in Karen.
Those are the most dangerous people. Like the ones that say they can't play the game. Like those are the most dangerous ones.
He's all like, I don't even have a Nintendo Switch. What are we switching to? And then he can, yeah. Right there, you have King, the king of Smash Brothers.
Oh no, definitely not true. I'm not the king of anything. That is the person that owns it, And I don't worry, I will give Ricky a chance to defend himself on the next WrestleCast. He can defend his Smash Brother, why he massacred everybody. So stay tuned for that. All right, so moving on, Gary. How about you let us know what you've been playing?
Not much really. I mean, whenever I do get to play games, it's either been Overwatch or the Division 2. I haven't quite reached level 30 yet. I think I'm at like level 26 on Division. So yeah, I haven't beat the game. I still got a couple missions left. And then I just want to like beat it so I can get to the end game content, because I've heard that's really good. But yeah, I just haven't had a lot of time to play, so just here and there, whenever I can spare a few minutes, I hop on Overwatch or Division and do a mission or something. But that's pretty much it. Oh, I did actually because every few years, like, I like to revisit one of my favorite games of all time, and that's Streets of Rage. So I did play Streets of Rage 2 and 3, just to mess about, like played a few levels of each game and stuff, just to remind myself and bring myself back to my childhood and remember why I loved those games so much. So yeah, that's it pretty much. And I'm actually looking forward to Streets of Rage 4 a little more now than I was before, like just because I want to see the vision and where they take it. But yeah, we'll see.
Will you ever tire of Overwatch?
No, I won't.
You're like, no, why are you asking this question?
I'm gonna play it forever.
I will be buried with the game. Screw you.
Yeah, like I won't be able to like survive the day they take that game offline, like they shut the server down, like that's it for me. Like I'm done with life after that. Awkward silence. I'm sorry.
Transition.
I
don't know if Rich is still here, but yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that. We had a bit of a issue on this side, but no, that's good. Yeah, I know Gary will always play Overwatch because that is his favorite game. And whenever they announce Overwatch 2, even though you, Tatiana, and others keep saying that will never happen, whenever that gets announced, we probably will not see Gary for at least a couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that, because it is going to happen. All right. As for what I've been playing, I will go ahead and admit that there's two games I've been playing. One that I may be embarrassed to talk about. The other one, not so much. So I'm going to go with the embarrassing game first. As WWE has done its job with the marketing of WrestleMania 35, sure enough, I was playing WWE 2K19 the other day. Pretty much, I wanted to go in there and look at the community creations because I know people are always creating stuff. And much to my surprise, even though it's not really a surprise, a lot of people already had updated the attires of the wrestlers when they actually debuted, during when they had their matches during WrestleMania, which I thought was fantastic. They do so good a job of this. It makes me wonder why 2K does not pay them to update the game, because 2K doesn't bother updating the game at all. So I did try out some of the attires of the other wrestlers, and I was very impressed. So yeah, I wanted to reenact some of the matches that I saw, so I had a fun time doing that and trying to mess around with the GM mode. So I will once again say that the game definitely has some issues, but at least the community, they do what they can to try and update the tires. So I have to give them credit on that at least. The people who actually play the game and enjoy it, they actually try to keep it updated the best they can. So I'm very curious to see what WWE, what will happen with WWE 2020. Although I expect that game to be just as bad because, it's 2K and they haven't really made a lot of drastic changes to the formula yet. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, remember, they said previously that they was taking a break because we're already in March and the game usually drops around in October and we haven't heard a single smattering about it. So I think that they're taking a break.
I do remember that, and I really do hope that that they stay true to that, because I think there may be the shareholders may want to get a game out because of the fact that SmackDown is moving to Fox in October. I hope I'm incorrect, because if they take more time, then yes, it means the game will be significantly better, or it could at least be better. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, you are right, because we definitely would start hearing some news now if it was coming out this year, unless they're going to wait until E3 to start revealing, oh yes, this game is in development. But I have no idea. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, I hope not. I really hope not. But I do feel that they've never really made a presence, have they, at E3? Am I wrong about that?
They normally have the game like behind closed doors. Like if you can get an appointment to actually check it out, then yeah, you'll get invited to that. They didn't do that last year. They have done it in the past, so more than likely they won't do it this year, because I know that the big game, well, there's two games I know for sure that they will release this year. That is Borderlands, which is a big game, Borderlands 3, and of course NBA 2K 2020. That's definitely going to come out this year, because that game comes out every year. So aside from those two, I don't know what else they're going to actually be bringing out. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I do hope they do decide to take a break, because it is desperately needed. Playing this game and then going to play all these other games, I see there are so many things they can fix about this game that will make it actually better than it is. But I don't really think they're taking the time to really think about that, because they're like, well, we got to have a release every year. So hopefully that will change. But if it's up to the shareholders, it won't change, because they're gonna be thinking about, hey, we gotta make this money. So we'll see, though. I mean, anything is possible.
Yeah, that is true. But I hope that it doesn't happen. But if it does happen, I do hope that Becky Lynch is on the cover.
Oh yeah. Becky 2 belts. Yes, definitely. we need to see that. So we'll see. As for the other game that I have had a chance to play, I have been playing a game called God's Trigger. This is a game that our very good friend Adam Vale actually wrote a preview for that is on the website right now. The best way I can describe this game is like it's one of those games in the vein of Hotline Miami. So if you're a huge fan of Hotline Miami, but you want to basically play as characters, you're playing as both the angel and the demon, and you're taking on the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and all these other characters, and traveling to various stages. If you're into Hotline Miami, and these types of themes in the game with, good and evil and that type of stuff, you will absolutely love this game. I am going to have a review of the game later this week because it actually comes out this upcoming week. So stay tuned for that on the website. I have played through a huge chunk of the game. It is a lot of fun. It is also very challenging, because if you get shot one time, that's it, you're dead. Now you can continue to replay once you reach a checkpoint, but it just requires excellent timing and strategy. Because if you don't have those two things, then you absolutely will struggle with this game. But it is a ton of fun. You're able to level up the characters. You're able to do special moves, so on and so forth. So once again, if you like Hotline Miami, you definitely should keep an eye out for this game. Also, Techland, the same guys who made Dying Light and are working on Dying Light 2, they actually published this game as well. So that should tell you right there the quality of the game. That studio, they always put out great games. So definitely something to look for. But as I said, I will have a review for this game up on the website later this week when the embargo lifts. So stay tuned for that. And definitely consider checking out the game, especially if you love Hotline Miami or any of these top-down, type of shooters. But yeah, that pretty much covers what I've been playing and what we have all been playing. And with that said, we're going to jump right into the topics for this week because there's a couple of things to get through here. So first topic on the list, I have to ask Dana and Gary, did both of you get an opportunity to change your PSN ID names because now you're able to do that?
I haven't changed it yet, but I am going to be changing it to Gary the PC Gamer. Just because I feel I need to, establish the fact that I'm basically solely a PC gamer at this point. So.
How about you, Dana?
No. Here's the thing. I spent time and thought on my gamer tags, so I never had a reason to change them. They have meaning to me, so no, that doesn't really apply to me. But good for all of those who have to change their gamer tag.
Oh yeah. So one thing I want to say about this, and Gary, you could definitely correct me if some of the stuff I said is inaccurate. I know that it has taken a long time for Sony to finally figure this out, and it's good that they finally figured it out for those that are who have been desperately wanting to change their names. But I feel the way they have gone about this not entirely the best way, because I know that when they released the statement that this is now an order that has been done, they did mention that it will not work for every game because apparently the name is attached to, the profiles. And, if you've been playing a certain game, you get a certain amount of trophies, so on and so forth. All that stuff is attached together. So they did acknowledge that certain games that were like, if you, I believe it was around March or April of 2018, then this, when you make this change, your account won't be affected at all. But if any game before that, though, however, it might not work as far as changing the name. If you change the name, you may lose, I guess some of the stats that you've already built up, as well as I don't know if you'll lose trophies. I just know that they pretty much have already said that you're going to definitely lose some stuff if you play a game prior to April of 2018, a PS4 game. So I think that's a little bit of that is very disappointing to hear, because I would think with all the time that they spent trying to make this an option, it should just work out the gate for every game on PS4, especially a game from this generation. But again, they did acknowledge that, and I believe that this is a beta now, if I'm correct, still in beta. Unless this is the final release, I have no idea. But I just think for something that has taken this long to happen, I would say it's a bit disappointing to hear that it doesn't apply to every game, and it might not work the way it needs to work. So in that case, if I was Sony, I just would not have done it until I was 100% sure it actually works for every game, because otherwise I wouldn't even bother changing the name. Now, you can change the name If you decide that you want to change it again, the first time is free, but then you have to pay, I believe it's $9.99 if you want to change it a second time. If you are a PSN subscriber, you'll get like a discount. So instead of it being $9.99, I guess it'll be $4.99, which isn't bad. But at the same time, again, for those who have been waiting for this, I hope that they're able to do it and they find satisfaction with this. I personally have I will not be changing my name because I like my name as it is right now, and I have the same ID that I have for Xbox, so I don't see the need to change it at all. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But yes,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gary.
In all seriousness, because I'm not actually changing my PSN ID, and even if I wanted to, like, I would probably wait for the next console. Even though I'm not even sure I'm getting the next console, but the reason I say that is because I want to make sure that all games are going to support this name change. And I still have games from before 2018 on PS4. So if a lot of those games are going to be broken, or they're not going to carry over my leaderboard data, or certain things like that, then I would rather just not change my name, at least until there's a new console. Because when the new console comes out, like, because basically from here on, it's that feature is going to be a part of every game that comes out. So from 2008 onwards, that's built in, that name change system. So I would rather just wait till the next console, because then it's going to be like the next wave of games. So, then I can be sure that every game is going to support my name change. Whereas in this generation, I still have a lot of games from before 2018, so I wouldn't feel comfortable changing my name, just because I don't know what the effects will be when I revisit those old games. So, yeah, I wouldn't bother with it. I have no reason to anyway, because, my PSN ID is pretty much the nickname I use on like every service, so I probably won't be changing it.
Well, I totally understand that.
But also I wanted to say that this just goes to show how forward-thinking Microsoft is, because when they first made the Xbox Live infrastructure, they thought of all of this already. Like, like they didn't have to scramble to reprogram their network so they can include a feature or anything. Like, they already thought of this. Like, they were forward thinking. And with Sony, it's like they never considered these things when they made their network. Like, they were just making it up as they went along, and then they saw what Microsoft was doing on the 360, and they had to play catch up. Because if you remember last generation, something similar happened, where people used to always say, oh, like on Xbox we have background music, like we can listen to music and play games at the same time. And PlayStation never had that feature, and it took them years before they could finally implement that feature. So yeah, like this is an ongoing thing with Sony, where it takes them a while to figure out how to include these features in their network, when if they were a bit more forward thinking, they probably could have made this easier. But yeah, that just goes to show that we should appreciate Microsoft, because without Microsoft we might not have had a lot of these features that we have now. So
oh yeah. Well, you are correct. Let's not be too positive of Microsoft, because then the people like the Xbox fans, they will be like, hey, they finally acknowledged Microsoft is perfect. We didn't say they're perfect, but yeah, they definitely were forward thinking in how they handled this particular situation. And we obviously will have a lot to say about Microsoft next week, because I know that there was news about them having an Inside Xbox this upcoming week, and they're going to be talking about E3 2019 and a lot of the other things they have planned at that particular show. So we'll definitely talk about that next week, because that's going to probably be one of the main things that we'll be talking about. So, but once again, for those interested in PSN ID changes, yes, congrats. Now you're able to do it. Definitely, feel free to do that ASAP if you don't think it will impact any of your other games. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for that topic. All right, so I'm now going to pass the mic over to Dana, as there is a game that I believe that she has had some time to actually check out, a little game called Samurai Shodown. So, Dana, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you for your floor. All right. So I was able to play Samurai Shodown, which, I mean, it's by SKN. Those who obviously know, the game has been around for a very long time, but it's taken a very long hiatus, and it's coming back. It will be coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on June 27th. We're also going to get Nintendo Switch and PC versions so that Gary can play. It's coming in the winter, and there will be a Japanese arcade version that will release later on this summer. Now, the game will bring back the 13 original characters from previous entries of the franchise, as well as 3 newcomers, which kind of seems a little small, but 3 newcomers. Now, they also revealed that there will be the new trio, the new people that are coming, is called Darling Dagger, who is a shipbuilder who fights from a sawtooth blade. Wu, I'm going to butcher this name because I am ignorant. Forgive me. Wu Rizuk Sing, I don't know. But Ru, it's Wu, Ruixiang, who's a Chinese fighter who can summon a dragon. That's pretty cool. You got dragons in this game. Any game with a dragon wins. Then there's also Yashurama Kurama, who is a fallen samurai who basically has a sword that has an extended handle. They will join like I said, the other previous 13, which is Earthquake, Galford, Tam Tam, Charlotte, Jinjuro, and I'm not going to butcher these other names because that's just disrespectful and mean, but they're 13 of the previous ones that everyone loves and enjoys. Now, moving on with the gameplay itself. Now, it had to be stated for everyone repeatedly because there was this kind of like glossed over look that this game is a very slow game. You're not going to go in there and start trying to kill everybody like this is Street Fighter. There are no combos. So this is it's not turn-based, but it's still a very slow game. The controls are very similar to other fighting games, though. I played on a PlayStation, so, it's whatever that you find with other games that you play on PlayStation, you're going to be able to control it the very same way. The game itself was very fun and very brutal, but it was also just very slow. Once you master the certain moves, then it's not a game that's going to sit and teach you everything. The more you play it, the more skilled you will become. Because one of those, you have to keep playing it in order to improve much at life. You gotta, just keep on. Now, each character will have its own different fighting style, which is very good. If you're looking for some type of diversity, you have the diversity there. Also, each fighter will have 2 special moves, one with a red background and the other with a yellow. The red background special moves are basically you got to keep hitting, like, say, for example, like the left trigger. And, it works like a regular fighting game, so you'll figure it out in that end. But it's not something that's overcomplicated. It's very simplistic in its kind of like style, which really works well if you're not used to, say, playing Street Fighter, because you can't go right in there and start thinking you can do combo moves and that'll be it. It doesn't work that way, and you'll end up losing way faster if you try to play that way. I would say that, in a game, again, it takes a lot of skill in order to figure it out. And the more skilled you are, obviously I was playing with the developers, so they killed me. And it was like really disrespectful because they didn't even like pretend to let me win. It was like, little girl. And then they came and just killed me in like 5 seconds. But I did find that the more that I kept playing, the better skilled that I was. So I wasn't dying so embarrassingly. I had some pride by the end of my experience. I do say that this game here, if you've never played any of the previous games, this is a very easy approach to someone who's new to the series. The plus side about not having combo moves kind of means that you don't have to memorize all of the different buttons and the combinations. So that is a plus side for that. Each character moves, though, they are initiated in the same way. So there is some similarity. If you choose different characters, you can still figure out the moves rather quickly. So that is a plus. I will say that also the art is very stylized. It was inspired by a lot of Japanese folklore. It's very pretty. It's very bright. So that is also another plus. My only thing is that it's a very slow game, but also it makes you think. It's literally, I would say, I would compare it to like the chess game of fighting. So if you're into like those thinking, analyzing, strategic type of games, fighting wise, this is going to be a game for you. And it is very pleasing. And it's something that you don't, you can't be aggressive on, but you can still slowly rack up your skill level and you'll be perfectly fine. So I liked it eventually.
I would say that sounds awesome. I had a chance to play the original game several years ago. I'm not going to reveal how many years because I don't want people to be like, yeah, this guy is really old. No, I don't even remember the exact time, but I did get to play the original, and definitely is a game that I enjoyed. But as you said, it takes time to get used to this type of game because it is slow and methodical. So with that said, I was very happy to see that they revealed that they actually were bringing this back. So I'm looking forward to this game. Definitely going to look out for more news on it, more trailers. I believe that there is supposed to be a series that has already started where they're going to be revealing characters every other week in YouTube videos because I did see a news piece about this not too long ago. So I definitely am going to check that out so I can figure out all the other characters as well as what other new characters are going to be in this game. But definitely looking forward to it, and we'll check it out when it comes out. I believe sometime this summer is when it's supposed to come out. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for letting us know about the game. And I'm sure by the time it comes out, you will become a pro at this and you'll be destroying everybody left and right. Yes. So with that said, let's move on now to the next topic. This is actually a story that I think a lot of people kind of missed out on because it was news that came out during Star Wars Celebration. So let's just give a quick little overview of what is essentially going on here. So the lead actress who played Iden Verso in Star Wars Battlefront 2, which is by the way a game that Gary says that he absolutely loved. Which I was surprised to hear, but yes, he did enjoy that game.
Very funny. Very funny.
Yes, but the actress whose name I don't want to mess up her name. I want to say Janaya Gavinark, something to that extent. But she played a character called Tatia in the Frozen Wilds DLC for Horizon Zero Dawn. That obviously was one of the Sony exclusives that came out this generation and caught everybody's attention. And I know that Guerrilla, they were over the moon about this game. It was a huge success. So recently at Star Wars Celebration, a fan thanked her for her contribution to Horizon Zero Dawn. And her reply was, "Just wait until you see the sequel. You're going to die. I know some secrets. You're going to die." So pretty much this news was taken as a bit of a teaser for the sequel. And I know that we've had discussions on this show in the past that, they're definitely going to make a sequel. And this is probably going to be a PS5 title. I really don't think that Sony would push it out this generation because they still have so many other titles that they have to release before that. But I guess I just wanted to get you, both of you, your opinions on this particular topic. whether or not you actually played the original Horizon Zero Dawn, and whether or not you're actually looking forward to a sequel. So, how about you go first, Gary?
Oh yeah, I think it's hilarious how that came out. Like I always like when spoilers and stuff drop, like when people they're not really thinking, they just like blurt it out kind of thing. Like I always find that funny. But yeah, as for Horizon though, I did play the first one, Horizon Zero Dawn. I never actually beat it, so I don't know what happens at the end. But I could fully understand that game having, another entry in the series, because like, it's a really good game, well put together. Um, it seemed like a game that kind of fused ideas from a lot of other games. Like there was some Assassin's Creed in there, there was some Tomb Raider, even some like God of War and stuff. But still, it has enough of its own identity to carry a series. And I feel like the main character is really well done as well. So I could understand this game having another, a sequel, and that's probably one of the games I would actually be excited for on the PlayStation. Um, so yeah, I do believe, like you said, it's going to be a next generation game. I mean, it makes sense at this point. Like any new game you hear about is probably going to be next generation. So yeah, I can fully see that happening. And it might not be a launch game. I mean, maybe it will, but I feel like it would come out, in the first year of the PS5's life cycle or something, either the first or second year. So yeah, I can fully see that happening.
Oh yeah, um, yeah, I do agree with that. I do think depending on whenever they started development on this game, it could be a launch title, but again, I'm not sure. One thing I do know, and I will take this with a grain of salt right now. I was at GameStop the other day because I wanted to look into pre-ordering the Mortal Kombat 11 Collector's Edition. And while I was there, I was talking with the guy who works at GameStop. He was telling me that he asked me about the Nintendo Switch. I told him that I wasn't going to get a Switch because I was waiting for them to announce the other models. And then he was trying to say, well, don't believe everything you hear about the rumors. Uh, and then he started to bring up this rumor about PS5, saying that people saying it's coming out 2021, 2022. He said actually in Japan they had a couple of test model units that they had put out there, and there actually was a lot of issues with these units, which is why now it may take a little longer for this system to come out. So again, take everything with a grain of salt, because I don't know how knowledgeable this actual guy is. I just know he was talking about this stuff because we just had a general conversation about.
Wait, so which store was this?
This was a GameStop.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust him.
Not
Like
making
he's
sense.
trying to get you to buy something. Like, he wants people to believe that these things aren't coming so that they buy something now. Like, so
Oh yeah, no, you're right. Absolutely. So I thought that was funny, but the game is coming out for sure. I just don't know when it's coming out. It is going to be out next generation though. I don't. Like I said, Sony has a lot of titles that they already have out that they're in development. Last of Us Part Two, uh, Days Gone, which is coming out in a few weeks. Um, of course, Death Stranding and Ghost of Tsushima. So they have a lot of other titles that are supposed to be coming out this generation. So I think Horizon definitely should wait until next generation. So we'll see. Did you have any thoughts you wanted to share, Dana, on this particular game? Did you get a chance to play the original Horizon Zero Dawn?
I haven't played it in such a long time.
Uh-oh.
Sorry. But yay for sequels. Woo! But no, it takes forever to do a sequel. And to make it actual decent and good one. I wouldn't mind until the next generation, although I'm poor and I don't know where we're having another generation. But it would seem like it's better suited on the next generation right now.
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
Dana also said that she loves Horizon because the main character reminds her of Becky Lynch, her favorite wrestler.
You are silly. You're a silly, silly lying man.
I will say, I don't know if Becky has already done that, but that's a great cosplay idea for her to dress up as that character. I could have swore she dressed up as a character before. But yeah, if you want to do some type of cosplay in the future for like an event, that's a great character for her to portray. We'll see. But yeah, I must admit that I never did get a chance to play the original Horizon Zero Dawn. The reason for that is because I recall when this game came out, it was the exact same week as The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And on top of that, I actually was going to my first GDC that same week. So I definitely did not have any time at all to dive into the game. Now, I do have the game because I remember pre-ordering it. It is actually on my PS4 right now. I just have not had a chance to actually play it. So hopefully, by the time the sequel comes out, I will have had a chance to play the first game. But yeah, we'll see. There are too many other games I have to catch up on, so that might not happen anytime soon. But
Yeah, I remember so many games came out around that time that Horizon came out, and that's why I didn't get around to finishing it because I remember Nier Automata came out I think the same month,
yep,
and Persona 5 came out like the next month or something as well.
that's
So
true. Yeah, you're
there were
right.
so many games. I think Mass Effect Andromeda 2 came out that month.
Yeah, that was the crazy year with all the major releases. So yeah, I mean, you definitely had to pick and choose. Well, at least in my case, you had to pick and choose which game to devote your time to. I know Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, people have spent hours and hours and hours in that game. In this game, also, I heard this is like at least a 30, 40-hour game. So these are not no short games that you can just get through. And especially if you want to get all the collectibles and all the other stuff, it takes a while to really dive into this type of stuff. So I haven't had a chance to jump into it, but hopefully I can jump into it before the sequel comes out. But I think I have a good amount of time for that happens. So we'll see. So any final thoughts on this topic before we move on to the next?
Not from
A
me.
well sequel.
Oh, what do you say?
I said, I wish you well, Mr. Sequel.
Yes, we shall see. Okay, moving on. A couple more stories to get into here. This is a story that I'm very curious to hear Gary's perspective on. I know he had a chance to play the second game, and I believe I'm not sure if you had a chance to also play the sequel as well, Dana. But Watch Dogs 3. There was a report released recently that suggested that the sequel is going to take place in London. Now, I will say this because this also came from a leak, which pretty much had confirmed that it is going to be in London. I know that Kotaku also reported on this story initially. So, what I want to say about this real quickly is, I know that the last game, Watch Dogs 2, took place in San Francisco. I did not get a chance to play that game. Gary, I know you played the game. You actually wrote a preview about the game also, because you had played it during E3 as well. So, I want to go to you first since you do live very, very close to London. What are your thoughts on this game taking place in London, and are you excited for hearing this once Ubisoft actually confirms it? Because I'm pretty sure they're going to confirm it now that the leak is out there before E3 gets here. But what are your thoughts on this news?
I'm actually excited about that because I've been wanting to see like a modern 3D game that takes place in London for a very long time because we haven't really had that since like The Getaway on PS2. I mean Assassin's Creed Syndicate that was in London, but it was like old school London, like back in the day, medieval type stuff. So I've wanted to see like a modernized version of London in a game for the longest time. We always get New York, we get Chicago, we get LA, and all these other big cities, but we haven't had London in a very long time. I thought maybe Grand Theft Auto would do one eventually, but I guess Ubisoft is going to beat them to it. And I'm excited at the idea of a Watch Dogs taking place in London. I I have a thing for hacker stories right now. Like I read a lot of hacking fiction with hackers and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm ready for Watch Dogs 3, man, in London. Like I feel like that's a good combo, and I want to see what kind of story they're gonna tell. And I do need to finish Watch Dogs 2 before this game comes out, just so I know where the story is, because I don't know what happens at the end of Watch Dogs 2. But yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited.
I will just say this right now. If this is taking place in London, I'm about 99% sure Ubisoft will have some type of event in London. So we are definitely going to have to look into that if that's the case to see if, yeah, something you might be interested in attending.
Oh yeah, me, Rams, and Carl will pull up for sure.
Absolutely, yes. So, Dana, have you had a chance to play Watch Dogs 2 or the first game? And what are your thoughts on this sequel taking place in cherry old London?
I should put on my British accent because we're going to London. Chip, chip, period.
That's so
Yeah,
accurate.
it is accurate. Thank you. No, I did play the first one, and I had the wonderful, beautiful experience of the game glitching so bad that I was scarred and was like, "Screw you, part two." So I played the second one. I am happy that it's in London for Gary. So those who like London, yay you. But if Watchdog 3 does not glitch, then I'll play it.
Well, I certainly understand that particular comment about glitching. There were a lot of issues with the first game. I encountered some issues like that, and also I was not a fan of the protagonist. I was not a fan of how the story panned out. I'll say it like this: the game was a first attempt that was okay, but it was not as good as it could have been, and it was not as accurate as it could have been. The sequel, significantly better game. It's like a night and day difference. Although I haven't spent as much time with the game as Gary has. Even when I saw it at E3, it's like, yeah, this game, it just looks like they finally embraced, the setting was perfect because, Ubisoft is based in San Francisco. So obviously they have the place where they were able to really get a lot of their inspiration from right there in front of them. And then, of course, to embrace the hacker culture stuff. I think they did a better job of that in that sequel. So hopefully the third game is, going to be a lot better. But we'll see.
I do want to say one thing though, like the excuse me, the character in the second game was really cool.
Yeah,
I like that, but I would like to be able to create my own character in the next one. But I don't know. They probably won't make it like that, but I think it would be cool to create your own character.
I would think that they have enough technology where they could make that an option. I mean, but there's probably going to be some caveats to that. Like if you do create your own character, then maybe the character won't speak in the game. They won't have no dialogue or something like that. Or I'm not sure. But hopefully they are going to consider that because they have to have things in this game to make it different from the other two. And obviously you couldn't create your character in the first or second game. So it would be great if you could do some type of customization with that particular option in mind for the next game. But I guess we'll see about that. Yeah. So with that said,
I just think it would be really cool to like create your own hacker, like you're probably gonna be able to do in Cyberpunk. Like having that in Watch Dogs would be really cool.
Wow. You know what? I didn't really think about that game until you mentioned that. Wow. Well, I don't know when Ubisoft is releasing this game, but man, I would assume it's going to be this fall. But yeah, if Cyberpunk is also coming out this year, that's it's going to be a ton of competition, especially
Yeah.
if it's in the same window as this game. That's yeah, that's an interesting dynamic. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah. So we definitely can. I guess, like I said before, since this news has already leaked out, I'm pretty sure that Ubisoft is going to reveal this before E3, just like how they did with Assassin's Creed, where they acknowledged and said this game is in development, yes, and then that you'll hear more about it at E3. So now I am definitely expecting that to be the case with this particular game. So I guess we can stay tuned for that announcement, and maybe that'll happen within the next month or so, if not sooner than that. But yeah, looking forward to hearing more about it, and definitely looking forward to trying out Watch Dogs. Although, as I said before, I have to play the second game. I have to play it thoroughly, all the way through. As for the first game, nah, son, I will not be going back to that game. But yeah, I'll play the second one. Yes. So, any thoughts before we move on to the next topic?
Don't suck. Don't glitch. Don't care where the game is played. It could be taking place in Africa or the moon. Just don't glitch.
I agree 100% with that. Hopefully that will not be an issue.
Indeed.
Okay. So this next topic, I'm actually going to give you the floor, Gary, because there has been some drama behind Dragon Age 4. I know there was an article that I believe that Kotaku published, really diving into all of the drama that went on behind that whole game and the fact that it is now being rebooted. And I know that you've also written an article about BioWare and EA's relationship. So I'm going to give the floor over to you to inform us as well as the viewers what is going on with Dragon Age 4 and what were you addressing in your article?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I just want to give a big shout to Jason Schreier, because I'm actually reading his book as well, Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, and in that he basically documents the development of a bunch of different games, and Dragon Age Inquisition is one of them. Um, and he talks about a lot of the complications they faced throughout development. He even explains what happened with Dragon Age 2. Um, and what happened there was basically EA had a gap to fill, like, because they had no game coming out for that year or that period, because they had to delay something. So they kind of forced the Dragon Age team to produce another Dragon Age, even though they wasn't ready to, and it was like a year after the first Dragon Age came out. So the reason Dragon Age 2 is so scaled back in its concept from what the first game was is because they only had a year to develop that game, and it was like a super strict schedule that they had to follow. So they weren't able to make a grander story. And the reason they had to reuse a lot of levels and models and stuff is because they only had a year. So that explains a lot on why that game came out how it did and people reacted to it that way. And the idea they had for Dragon Age 2 was actually what Inquisition turned out to be. So yeah, he explained that whole thing in the book. So now fast forward, we've all seen what happened with Anthem. We've heard all the controversy, and a few weeks back, Jason Schreier put out a report, like a very detailed report. Everyone should go read it. I linked to it in the article I wrote as well, so go check that out on Kotaku. But he put out a report, and this report basically reveals what happened with Dragon Age 4. Like, basically Dragon Age 4 was rebooted from the original idea. Now, if you guys remember a few years back, Mike Laidlaw left BioWare, and Mike Laidlaw was perhaps like the last of the true BioWare people that that we know that represented quality and storytelling and true creative concepts and stuff like that. Like he was the last of those guys that represented what BioWare was all about. And he had a vision for Dragon Age 4, and it was going to be very character driven. It was going to be kind of a scale back story. It wouldn't be like a, oh, we need to save the universe kind of story, because we get those kind of stories in every RPG. This was going to be more about the characters and the player and just experiencing the world of Dragon Age. And you were going to be in the Tevinter Emporium, which if you play Dragon Age, what that's about. But yeah, like he had this whole vision mapped out for the game, and then all of a sudden EA, the higher ups, the executives, they step in and they're like, you know what, I'm sorry, we need people to help us with Mass Effect Andromeda. So they pull people away from the Dragon Age team, from Mike Laidlaw's team, to work on Andromeda because they know it's a mess, because of their mismanagement, basically. So they pull his whole team away to work on Andromeda. And then when that's done, and we all know what happened with Andromeda, but when that's done, they then take those people to work on Anthem, because they want Anthem to be their main focus going forward, because they believe that that's the type of game that's going to make them the most profit. And then that project that Mike Laidlaw had was basically scrapped, and that led to him leaving the company. And that's really what made him leave, because the direction was just being lost completely. So now this new Dragon Age that they're making is a new idea, and the idea comes from the top. It comes from the execs and EA. So they basically want this game to be built on the Anthem engine, because they don't have time, or they don't want to allocate resources to the project to create like its own customized engine. So basically they're saying throw the game on the Anthem engine, and that Anthem engine is built for Anthem. It's built to be an online service game, like the type of game Anthem is. So that's going to restrict a lot of stuff, and obviously there's going to be a lot of online features that EA want in there as well, so they can uh, milk like gamers and stuff, basically. So like milk your money, milk your bank cards and stuff like that, because they want microtransactions and all these things in the game. So yeah, like EA's bad, that like they don't care about the creative ideas that BioWare have. They just care about like their spreadsheets and numbers and what the numbers say. And that's what's really killed BioWare, to the point that the BioWare that exists now, isn't the BioWare we know. And we have this conversation again and again, but it hurts to know, because like you're so passionate about Mass Effect and Dragon Age. Like those two IPs alone inspired like the books that I wrote. Like, so they mean a lot to me. And just to see how EA is just ruining and destroying these IPs, it's really sad. So that's what motivated me to write the article that I wrote, which was basically let BioWare go. Because I feel like it will be very sad if they just close down BioWare. I feel like EA should at least have the honor to sell off BioWare to another company or something, to where they can have a second chance. But just to mismanage them to the point of destruction, like I think it's pretty sad that happens, or that is allowed to happen. So that's what my article was all about. Like, of course, I know EA probably isn't gonna sell them off, or they're not gonna let them go and be their own independent company. Like, it's not gonna happen, because EA is a corporation. They call the shots. They do what they want. So we saw what happened to Visceral recently. So I think that's what's in the future for BioWare. If Dragon Age fails, I think that's the last of BioWare right there. Like, because Anthem kind of bombed, like they didn't get the response they wanted. So everything is riding on Dragon Age, and everything we're seeing suggests that this is gonna go pretty bad. So yeah, that's what my article was all about basically. But Rich, what's your thoughts on this? Because I know you're also pretty passionate about BioWare. You know their work. You love Mass Effect as well. So like, what's your thoughts on all of this information?
Well, first and foremost, I thought that you did an excellent job on the article. So I appreciate you being very honest and forthright with the opinions. I know that, we've always been talking about Mass Effect, and of course, I know you and Ramis did a podcast talking about Mass Effect Andromeda, the good, the bad, and the ugly, which everyone should definitely check out if you haven't done so already. But I just think, as far as where I look at BioWare, yeah, without a doubt, Mass Effect is one of the series that's one of the games that when I first picked up my Xbox, that was definitely one of the games that had me hooked. In particularly, Mass Effect 2, I think, in my personal opinion, and I have to say, my personal opinion, that is probably the best of all three games. That is just my opinion, though. So I don't want nobody coming after me in the comment section for that statement. But yeah, when you look at how BioWare put together that trilogy, and we can definitely debate and talk about the way they decided to conclude the third game, because that's controversial in some regards. But just the way they put together that whole first trilogy, by far one of the best gaming trilogies that I have enjoyed from BioWare. Of course, Dragon Age. I know back in the day, you have told me multiple times you need to play Dragon Age. Didn't get a chance to play Dragon Age. Did get a chance to play some of Dragon Age 2, and I have to say, man, that was disappointing. Because I recall we actually recorded a show as I was listening to some of our archive of older co-op episodes. I did recall one episode I heard, we were talking about Dragon Age 2, and I believe Mills as well said the game was trash. And yes, that demo we played was pretty bad. Now, I didn't play the game in full, but that demo was enough for me to say, okay, I don't know if I can go back to this. Now, with that said, I did download the game recently when it was a part of Game Pass. So I will get a chance to jump back into that. Not Game Pass, Xbox Live. So I will get a chance to actually revisit that again to see what it will, how it is. But just in terms of BioWare, overall they have done a pretty good job with what they have put out, with the exception of Mass Effect Andromeda. That was the most recent thing that was a flop, and then of course Anthem, which is a game that I haven't played. So, but with that said, we do know with EA's track record, they have not done a good job with some of these studios that they have taken under their wing. Visceral and all of the great things they did with the Dead Space franchise. I really enjoyed that franchise, despite the fact that I did not like the last game that they released. So I was hoping they were going to do something really good with their Star Wars licensing. But then, of course, we saw what happened with Visceral, as you already stated. So I definitely want BioWare to. I'm hoping that BioWare, when that time does come and they make a decision to leave, I am very hopeful that they make that decision and they just go forward and do whatever they need to do for themselves. I'm hoping that they remain somewhat intact. I don't want to be a situation where EA has to shut down the studio and then everybody is out of work and has to find something else. I don't want that to happen, because BioWare has a talent for telling great stories and making great games. So I want them to survive, unlike the other companies that did not survive under EA. So hopefully that is what happens. But the question that I wanted to ask very quickly, and then you have to get Dana's opinion, is Dragon Age 4 still in development? Is it still coming, or what's the story with the game right now? Because I know they had to keep stopping development to work on these other games. So is Dragon Age 4 still in development, or or do we not know any of that information?
Oh yeah. It's in development. It's just that the original idea that Mike Laidlaw had, which sounded like a good idea and like it was going to stick to the roots of what Dragon Age is. They completely scrapped that idea now, and they're going with their own direction, and they're putting it in the Anthem engine. Which is questionable, but they are going ahead with it.
Okay.
So basically, none of the old people who worked on the previous games is going to be working on this. Like, this is basically an EA project. So.
Oh no! So here's a question. Here's a question that I have to ask now. Based off of this situation, do you believe that, in all seriousness, do you believe that BioWare will actually get to release Dragon Age 4, or is it possible that they may get shut down before this game even comes out?
I think they'll get the chance to release it, but I feel like if this game bombs, I think that really is it, because I mean, you had Andromeda bomb, you had Anthem kind of bomb. It didn't do what they wanted it to, and if this game bombs, like, EA is not going to be happy, because their actions are dictated by executives in the boardroom who are just looking at Excel spreadsheets and stuff. Like, they don't care about the bottom line. They don't care about what the customer wants. They don't care about the people slaving in the studio at their computers, programming and stuff. They just care about their turnover, their profits, basically. So yeah, I feel like it will get to that point where BioWare will be shut down. Now, they do have one last trump card, and maybe if Dragon Age doesn't do well, they can be like, okay, we're rebooting Mass Effect. Like, maybe that's their last trump card. But if they don't have any of the original team, then I think at this point fans are just going to be like, okay, like, we know what to expect here. Like, this is going to turn out just like Andromeda. So they really have to gonna try to sell us on the people who are working on the game. And yeah, I mean, I think the only, like, Tony Polanco said this actually, I think the only way we'll get to see that BioWare that we love from the past is if all those guys get together and form their own new studio. I know some of them are already working with their own studio, or they form their own studio, but if the full team gets back together, like, and then they create like a new IP or something, kind of like what Kojima's doing, then that might be the only way we really get to see the BioWare from the past. And I know the Banner Saga, right? That's some of the guys from BioWare worked on that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's the only way we're gonna get that old BioWare is through spiritual successors, from guys who used to work at BioWare. But at this moment in time, BioWare is just an imprint. Like, it's just a name. Like, it's not the quality that we've come to expect from the past. And it hurts because I really love, the lore of Mass Effect and the lore of Dragon Age, and I want these to be IPs that go on forever, like Final Fantasy or something. But, EA is just like, they're just running those names through the dirt, and they just don't care. So it's a shame.
Yeah, I definitely think it is. Yeah, it definitely is a bad feeling. I mean, on the flip side, I really don't know why what the issue is with EA not really giving a team the creative freedom to do what they want to do. Because a perfect example, the makers of A Way Out, which I've said multiple times on this show, that was an excellent co-op game. And it's a game I think a lot of people overlooked when it came out. I know I played through that game with Adam Vale. It was a fun game, and then they had the little twist in the storyline towards the end. I just I know with that particular game, EA just let the studio create it on their own. And then there's another indie title that's coming out later this year that we did see I can't think of the name of it right now for some reason, but they're giving those developers the creative freedom to do what they want to do. But in the case of this, it's unfortunate that they did not really give these guys the freedom to do what they wanted to do. I know with Anthem, we know with Anthem that was the most recent example of something that was disappointing. So it's unfortunate, but I don't know what's going to happen with Dragon Age 4. Hopefully, Dragon Age 4 is going to turn out to be a good game. I have no idea. I can only hope for that. But as for BioWare, as I said before, most importantly, that anything that does happen, I definitely want to see BioWare be restored to the company that it once was. Again, when you have people leaving, that kind of makes it difficult to really see how they're going to come back and become a stronger company as a whole. But I guess we just have to wait and see how everything will pan out with this. But we'll see. Definitely want to get Dana's opinion on this as well, because I'm pretty sure she has played Mass Effect. So, any thoughts on BioWare, Dana, and the issues going on with Dragon Age 4?
I played Mass Effect a while ago. was booty butt. The Dragon Age situation, I'm not surprised overall, but I just do hope that they're able. Maybe they just need to cancel the game. Maybe it just seems to be like that best, since there's just so many type of issues with the thing.
I do think, I don't know if EA is necessarily happy all this news is coming out about the issues going on with BioWare. That's another thing to consider. I'm pretty sure they're not, thrilled about this stuff getting reported on.
And that's why I really respect Jason Schreier, because this is what journalism is all about. Like he's like restoring that feel that I got when we first started the Koalition, where you would make your own stories. Like obviously there's news that comes out every day, and the PR people send you what they want you to post and everything, but this guy goes out and finds the stories, like, and he's well researched as well. So like, for a report like that detailed to come out, like, that was amazing, and I'm sure EA hates it, but that's what journalism is all about, and I respect what Jason Schreier did. So
oh yeah, I agree, definitely.
And also, like, you want to know what my dream scenario is? Like, this will never happen, but my dream scenario is that CD Projekt buys the all the BioWare IPs from EA, and then they hire all the old BioWare people. Like, that would be like my dream scenario to happen.
Well, that truly would be an amazing thing. I mean, I know that they're still doing stuff with the Witcher IP. I guess this Cyberpunk is, if this takes off, this could be like a new franchise. So that'll be great if they are able to do that. So then they have a lot of other things they can alternate between. But man, I have no idea what the future holds. But I'm just hoping that if something does happen with BioWare, yes, that some of the IPs can be restored by somebody. But hopefully it doesn't come to that where BioWare has to get shut down. But with EA, they have a track record of shutting down these companies. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how everything pans out.
Yeah.
So, but in any event, I would definitely encourage everybody to check out Gary's article if you haven't already. It's a very good, well put together piece. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people will agree with the article that they don't want to see BioWare suffer, but something has got to give. So hopefully Dragon Age 4 does come out and it does turn out to be a success, so it can get BioWare back on track. But I don't know. It's looking a little rocky now. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But any final thoughts before we move on to our last topic for today.
No, let's get to the last topic. We're staying with EA, so let's go.
Yeah. So while we already talked about the negative situation with Bioware, there are at least some positives going on with EA, and in the case of Respawn, EA and Respawn, they've had a pretty great 2019 so far. I would say, at least as far as certain games that are out now. I know Apex Legends, that was released earlier this year from Respawn, and that game obviously has proven to be a massive success so far for EA, so they're very happy about that. And I know that with Star Wars Celebration going on, I believe we're on day 3 right now, but yesterday they released the first official trailer of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So we got a chance to see what the game is essentially going to be like, a cinematic trailer, of course. We also got information that this game is completely a single-player game, no microtransactions whatsoever. And yes, very much a story-driven experience. So I wanted to get both of your thoughts on, first, the trailer. What your thoughts were about the trailer, and whether or not you think that this actually has a shot at becoming a successful EA Star Wars licensed game. So I'll go to you first, Gary.
Yeah, so before I get to the actual trailer, since I'm already kind of bitter at EA, I want to poke fun and say, like, basically EA's marketing campaign for this game, like, their message is basically, this is not an EA game, like, because basically, like, they're making it a point to say there's no DLC, no microtransactions, and like yada yada yada. They're basically saying this isn't your typical EA game, like, because your typical EA game has all of those things. So I just find it funny they have to go the extra mile to point out that this game is different from the rest of the games. And obviously they had that very bad press with Battlefront, so they want to make sure that this game is completely separated from all that press. So yeah, I mean, there you go, EA. That's what happens. Like, that's what happens when you mess up that badly. You're gonna find it hard to market your next game. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. Now, as for the trailer itself and the game itself, I'm not really a trailer person, so that trailer didn't do that much for me, to be honest. But I am semi-intrigued about the idea of a story-driven Star Wars. I mean, I wanted to see what Visceral was working on, and Amy Hennig and Jade Raymond. I really wanted to see what they were working on, but this game, I mean, it's story-driven. You're playing a Jedi. I mean, this is pretty much what people have wanted for a long time, so this has the potential to be good. Obviously, what we saw was a cinematic, so, I feel like I haven't really actually seen the game yet, but just looking at the direction, I am, kind of intrigued. I'm not like a super Star Wars nerd, so I can't really point out everything from the trailer, like, everything that I saw. I'm sure people will know all the references and, all the stuff that's happening, behind the scenes and stuff, but I don't really know. I just watched the trailer and I'm like, okay, cool, this looks good. I want to see the actual gameplay though. But just the fact that they're making a story-driven Star Wars, that's what we've wanted for years, like, so I'm happy about that, but I have to see a lot more before I'm fully 100% sold, especially because we're talking about EA. So that's my thoughts on it.
Oh yeah, well, I totally understand that. So not really knocking any of that. What was said. I do. I mean, it is, the game is set to come out in November. I believe it's November 15th. So they already have a release date. It's coming for Xbox One, PS4, and PC. So we do know all that information. I personally think that I know that Respawn have had a good track record with the games they have made. even Titanfall 2, a great game, but EA made the mistake of releasing that game so close to Battlefield, whereas I feel a lot of people just skipped over Titanfall 2, and it did not sell as well as it could have sold or got as much attention as it needs to. So what I'm curious to see now is, obviously we now know this game is coming out in November. I want to know, this is obviously going to be a big release for EA during the fall. I want to know whether or not they're going to be releasing something else that would take away attention from this. And I would hope that they would not do that, because they already know the last time they did that, it didn't work out in their favor. So hopefully EA does make this a focal point and they don't release any other games around this time or close to this time, because people definitely would pick this game up. But, we'll have to see how they go about that situation, because they didn't do it right with Titanfall 2 in the past. So we'll see. But I understand the need to be hesitant with anything EA does now. So we'll just have to wait and see. And I'm pretty sure we will see gameplay with E3 coming up right around the corner. Obviously, there's not going to be an EA press conference this year. So I don't know when they would have a chance to show gameplay, but they have to show something as we're getting closer to the actual launch. They cannot go and not show anything. So we'll just have to wait and see what they actually have planned for this.
Either they're going to showcase it at Xbox E3, or they're going to have a big blowout at Gamescom. Or
yeah.
Does Disney have their D12 or whatever it's called
this summer?
Okay, yeah, they'll probably be at that then.
Yep.
I would imagine it would be at that. Like, that's probably where they'll like show the whole story direction and everything, because I feel like Disney is gonna really help them co-promote this game, because you have the final Star Wars episode coming this this year, and then Disney's service as well, which is going to have more Star Wars content. So I feel like this game is going to get a lot of cross promotion and help from Disney. So I think it would make sense if they had a huge blowout at the D12, or what is it called, Dana?
What?
I'm so ignorant. Yeah, that's it. D23. There you go. Yeah, so I feel like they're going to have a big blowout there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna go to you next, Dana. What was your opinion on the trailer?
I don't trust trailers. I've never trusted trailers. I just don't. They purposely make it look amazing so that you would get interested in the game, and then you find out that it's not even the stuff they filmed is in the game. So I don't get excited for trailers. But I will say I am excited for the fact that they seem to just went back to their roots, that it's just, a single player game, which works for me because I've always loved single player because I have no friends. And so the no microtransactions, which also works because I'm broke all the time. So that works as well. And it seems like it's really simple enough. I know that they also explain that it will feature new locations in the Star Wars universe, and that it will also have all of the old locations that everyone knows and loves. And of course, there's going to be lightsaber, and there's gears and weapons and the same enemies that we know of. So it seems like they're trying to create something new, but also paying homage to the original and also to the canon itself. So that is a plus. That's what I'm kind of excited about there. Then it seems that, again, I'm not going by trailer, but overall, I just hope that they just make it very simplistic and something that we don't have to worry about where it gets overly complicated with the fact that, the DLCs and all these other extra storylines that they want to add. So overall, I'm optimistic, but I would have to actually see the gameplay and see what is going on to be that excited.
Oh yeah. Well, I totally understand that. I totally understand both of the points of view that you and Gary have. I do have to be honest and say this though, and this may be considered a controversial statement. I am more excited for this game than I am for Episode 9 because after seeing that Episode 9 trailer, I was like, yeah, I'm glad they're taking a break after this one because it's just a lot of stuff. Too much. Obviously, I will see it so I can see how the story is completed, but I'm not really impressed nor am I excited for that movie at all whatsoever. That's just my opinion. So, with all that said, any final thoughts on Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order before we get ready to wrap up today's show?
Don't suck.
Yeah, don't suck. I hope it's good, and I hope that EA is finally going to listen to the fans because that's what they haven't been doing for like the past 10 years. So, I hope they're learning their lesson.
Yeah. I agree. Hopefully. But we'll know soon enough.
I also feel like Disney, like I feel like Disney is in their ear. Like I think, well, not in their ear, but like they're watching them over their shoulder. Like you know how you're working at your cubicle and your boss is like looking over your shoulder. Like I feel like Disney is doing that with this project. So I do feel like it will turn out good, but I feel like Disney probably had to, come in and clean house a little bit. And because after that PR disaster with Battlefront, like, there's no way Disney didn't give them a phone call or something, like, to say, what's up, what's going on, So I feel like Disney is playing a big part in the production of this game.
I'm pretty sure that Disney is the reason why they're saying all this stuff up front. Like, oh yeah, there's no microtransactions. This is a single player only game. They want to be as clear as they can on the messaging as to what this game is before you even get into all the other stuff. Because I'm pretty sure Disney has told them you need to be very clear. So
yeah, so that's why I kind of have faith in this, because I feel like Disney is playing a huge part. But if it was just EA left to their own devices, I wouldn't trust it at all. But I feel like Disney has a big say in this, so I think it might be good.
Yeah, absolutely. But only time will tell what their final product looking like. So we'll see how that all pans out. But hopefully, the game is actually good. I know a lot of people were excited for it, so just hoping that they're not let down.
Indeed.
Yes. So with that said, I believe that concludes our topics for today's show. Definitely thank you all for listening. As I mentioned before, we have a couple of different things in the works, so certainly stay tuned because there's a lot of things that we're going to be talking about in more shows we're recording and more reviews we're actually doing. So stay tuned for all that on the website. So I'm going to go to you first, Dana. Do you have any shout outs that you would like to give?
Shout outs to everyone who's listening, and also a future hope that because Disney wants to be so proactive and have all these new properties out, can they please bring back Disney Infinity? Thank you.
We'll see. Yeah. I would like to give a shout out to everybody on the Koalition staff. This is Mr. Jake James Lugo, Dana, Mr. Anthony Nash, Tony Polanco, Tatiana, and of course Gary Swaby. Appreciate all the work you all do, and of course everybody that listened to today's show and has continued to support the website. We appreciate your continued support. And Gary, the floor is now yours for shout outs.
Yeah, sure. Shout outs to all of our Patreon people: M. Collins, Mauricio Aguilar, Himdil, Fergus Mills, Miguel, Antonio Rogers, Sean Gority. We appreciate you all for your continued support. We actually just published the Disney. We had like a discussion about the Disney Plus. Like we had a breakdown of that, where Dana was basically running us through, you know, all the stuff that's coming to that service, and we had a discussion about the how valuable that subscription service is compared to the others. So that is on the Patreon right now. So if you are a subscriber, you can go listen to that. Everyone else, you know, you'll get access to that a little later. But yeah, definitely check that out if you are a Patreon supporter. Big shouts to Reggie also, who was in the chat today. And yeah, shouts to the whole Koalition staff. And you know, everyone who's supported us over these 10 years. And I also want to shout out Jason Schreier again, because I've been very inspired by his work this week. And also shouts to Malik Forte, because it's crazy to think that, like, you know, we kind of came in this indie media, you know, game at the same time, like around the same time. Like around the same time that Koalition was starting, you know, he had the Iron Star movement, and he was going viral on YouTube and everything. And then, you know, we all kind of met at E3, and you know, we kicked it, had fun. We saw him multiple times throughout the years and everything, and it's like now I'm watching him like all the time on Overwatch League, like, you know, because he's one of the hosts on that. So it's just crazy to see how far we come, you know, and how long we've been around and stuff. So I like to show appreciation to people. So big shouts to Malik Forte as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it from me.
Absolutely. Yes. Shout outs to everybody. Thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to you all next week.